Hey everybody, and welcome to the next series of classes here at the Appalachian Entertainment Studios. Today what we're going to do is work on some recording, and we're going to do some different levels of recording. I've actually got another student that's kind of coming in a little bit, and we're going to do some recording of him recording, some videotaping of it. Talk about some of the essential components of recording to start off with. One of the main essential components for me is to have some sort of a computer to record onto. Now, a lot of people use tape devices or hard disk recording boxes or whatever. Whatever it is, you need to have some sort of a device to record onto, and that's probably one of the first steps. The second step is you got to have some sort of a microphone. These are some little pencil microphones that we got. They're pretty inexpensive. They're probably about $75 a piece, not very much. These will translate sounds into some sort of an electronic signal that is recorded by the electronic recording device. Obviously, you have to have cables to connect all of the things back. Proper recording studio needs to have some decent speakers. These are DBX speakers. They're very, very old, but they've done a really good job for me. I'm very, very excited about them. I like them a lot. We've got a little small mixing board here. The studio is really kind of a mixer-less recording studio, but what this does is these microphones run with what's called condenser power. It means that they have to have power into them before they work. So this mixing board is really more or less just a power supply for my microphones. So phantom power is energy that is sent into microphones, good microphones, to help them record. Anyway, we might at some point in time start going into all the ins and outs of microphones and all of the specifics too. Not right this time. Some of the other components for me, I play guitar. I use the pod to play my guitar through. It goes directly into the computer recording system. I just prefer it that way as opposed to miking up an amp every time. I've got this, and it's already got an amplifier simulator. Also, we have keyboards here. The keyboards serve quite a few different purposes. Sometimes, even if we have live drums, we might want to add licks or sounds or anything like that in through the drums, through the electronics of the keyboard, because it has drums and keyboards and pianos and strings and basses and everything. So, some songs are completely done on keyboard. Everything is done between here and there. This particular song, we're going to do some live drums on. Okay. Those are all the general essential points of it. There is one other thing. You got to have a power amp to run your speakers. Some speakers have power amps built into them. Some speakers don't. Unfortunately, my power amp is in the shop. Actually, I need to go get it sometime soon. And I'm just using an old jam box here to power my studio with right now. So next in here in the live room, we've got our drums. What we're going to do is we're going to do some live drums today. So we're going to talk about some miking techniques. You notice the stuff on the walls. I've got quilts on the walls, on the sides, on this side, and even on the back side here covering the window. Believe it or not, as nice as they look, they're not here for visual aesthetics. They're here to help with the room. The room was kind of bouncy when I first got into it. You'll notice that there's not quilts all over the walls, and I have more quilts. I could have put them up, but you don't want to deaden a room too much, and it can't be too live. So it's important that there's a common ground between whether something is live enough or whether it's too live. So or dead. You don't want it to be too dead either. Anyway, so more important than anything else about a recording studio is to recognize that your room sounds good and it's comfortable. Those are probably two of the most important things. You can get a lot more work done with cheaper equipment in a room that sounds good and you're comfortable in than you're going to be able to get in an uncomfortable room with $1 million worth of stuff. So, I guess that's the general gist of everything in here. What we're going to do now is talk about the actual miking technique, okay? We have a drum set here. Typically, if we were going to get really, really super duper serious, we would mic each one of the toms and, mic each one of the drums individually. And some people even actually mic the cymbals themselves. So, I, on the other hand, are not as particular about those type of things. I'd rather just get a nice raw signal. The Beatles, they stuck a microphone in the middle of the room, one microphone to pick up all of the drums. So there's a common ground that we can go with either one microphone in the middle of the room, or you can mic up everything, and I kind of split the difference. I just mic up the kick and the snare, and then just do an overhead microphone for the cymbals and the toms. So, and that's what we're going to do right now. Okay. This is my kick drum signal right here, kick drum cable. This is a guitar cable. You notice it's got 3 pins on it. That's actually called a balanced cable. It has a signal, a ground, and kind of a default signal side that recognizes noises and stuff that are on the cable. That's why these are clean. These are really highly clean cables. If it's working, it's usually super clean. All right, not a super duper high-end kick drum mic, but this is an Audio-Technica kick drum mic. We're just going to mic the kick drum with it. I prefer to mic a kick drum from the inside. Some people will mic it from the outside and get a good sound. I prefer to do an inside mic. This has already got a little cloth in it that we set against the head to give it kind of a thud, give it a little bit more of a thud. And basically, I like to stick the microphone just somewhere in the center on the pad. The next thing that we would mic would be the snare drum. I've got this stand already basically set up to mic the snare drum with. It's got the also an Audio-Technica snare and tom mic on it. Okay. Best place to mic a snare drum or a drum at all from is to find out where the sound is being generated. So in this particular drum, the snare sound is obviously coming from basically in the center of the snare. That's where the snare drum stick is going to hit whenever somebody plays the snare drum. So basically just put the microphone somewhere where it can get to the actual sound and make sure there's enough room where it's not going to bang on anything either. So tighten your things up pretty good, just hand tight. That looks like a good place for me. Basically pointing right at where the sound's going to be coming. You have to be real particular about doing it so that the drummer doesn't bang it, because that's drummers are notorious for tearing stuff up. So. All right. I always try to be good to make sure the cables don't get all up in the way, because they will. And the next thing, the only other thing that I'm going to mic with is going to be 2 overheads, right and left. We're going to use the little pencil condenser microphones for the overheads. Once again here, kind of think about where the sound is going to be coming from. This side is going to be more or less miking these sides of the drums. So I'm going to set it to mic more or less the hi-hat and this set of toms on this side. So you kind of split the difference on where you're going to be miking. I like to do what's called an XY miking pattern, where you point the mics at each other. But with these particular mics, they don't give enough real definition between the 2 sides, so I really have to kind of force the definition of the microphones. Now, obviously, this is going to pick up a lot of snare, but that's, you know, give and take. That's what you have to do. So, actually, you know what? For the fun of it today, we're going to try something a little bit different. I haven't tried this yet. We're going to mic that side from over here, like this. And we're going to mic this side from over there. Well, let's just see how that works. It may or may not work. That's one of the cool things about recording and music, is that there's a lot of different ways to do stuff, and it's always fun to experiment. You know, give it a try. If it works, great. If it doesn't, you know, don't do it. So this microphone is going to be more or less for the cymbals on that side and those 2 toms on the bottom. And then this microphone is going to come from this side, and it's going to more or less mic the hi-hat and these other 2 toms. Thank you, Ryan. Well, that microphone was turned on. It's smart to turn everything down before you start plugging stuff up. Stay lucky. All right. Once again, it's important to be sure that none of the microphones are going to be hit. It doesn't look to me like we're going to have any problems, but just to see. All right. Looks like it'll be all right. We do have to run a cable to this one. Once again, microphone's on. Smart to turn them off before you get started. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to come in here on the computer, we're going to set up the channels to record on.